numbers. Win clinical chess. Win payday. Win payday. Your fight was boring. 100 bill, whatever, 100 mil, whatever. Yeah, boring, cool.
Surprise at all. It's
Money Mayweather.
It's who he is. I've always thought that he's a horrible person, and this is every.
Joe Rogan and Andrew Tate recently had an in-depth discussion about a figure who's long been held in almost untouchable regard by fans, Floyd "Money" Mayweather.
Follow him on Instagram. It's hilarious. He's always in Abu Dhabi and Dubai, and he's making making deals. Look at my cars. Look at my watch. This is my big watch.
This time, the conversation wasn't full of admiration. It was marked by skepticism, criticism, and some blunt remarks aimed at the man often hailed as the greatest. The mystique surrounding Mayweather seems to be wearing off, and people are finally speaking their minds. From seasoned fighters to influencers and everyday fans, the narrative is shifting. The carefully crafted persona Floyd spent years building is now being unraveled. Andrew Tate even admitted that there was a time he genuinely respected Mayweather.
He's Ali, right? But Mayweather's never lost. He's never lost to anybody. And I liked him because he was so clinical and so precise, and he took his ego out of it and said, I want to have a longer career.
Like many others, Tate once admired Mayweather for his undefeated record, flashy lifestyle, and massive success. He respected him so much that when Floyd extended a fight offer, Tate declined, not out of fear, but out of genuine regard. Facing someone he looked up to didn't feel right. He didn't want to turn that respect into entertainment. But things have changed. That admiration has started to fade. Tate now suggests the offer wasn't purely about boxing, it was a calculated business move. He claims Mayweather wasn't just looking for a fight, he was also trying to bring him into what he described as a real estate venture.
My lifestyle, showing the people how I live. Now, I know you guys see me on a regular talking about real estate. Well, lately, I purchased 62 apartment buildings in New York City. And what I need you guys to do, slide over and check out the photos. It's not all 62 buildings, it's a few buildings, but guess what? All the buildings belong to me. I don't have no partners. And all the retail down low on my buildings,
And that's where things start to get unclear. Over time, questions have emerged about whether Mayweather's so-called real estate empire even exists in a tangible sense. A lot of his investments appear to be more talk than truth. Big claims, without much proof to back them up. That's when Tate decided to walk away. And looking back, he says he's relieved he made that choice.
Mayweather Jr., there's a story circulating that Business Insider did talking about this $400 million property deal that he had been discussing here in New York City. But now, according to Business Insider, it's not what you think it is. They said there's no evidence there's been a sale of these properties, and it's 62 rental apartments.
The carefully crafted image Mayweather projected of a man who outsmarted the system, invested wisely while others blew their earnings, and remained unbeatable both in the ring and financially, is now under growing scrutiny. Once known for flaunting stacks of cash and mocking broke fighters, the same man who claimed to have cracked the code is now facing serious questions about the reality behind the persona.
Podcast last week, but you have to stop embarrassing yourself with these exhibitions. I know life is hard, I know life is expensive, but come on, dude, put your legacy first. Nobody wants to remember you like this. And it gets worse, your jeweler filed a lawsuit against you in Miami. And many are saying you're gonna have to sell off your assets. I hate seeing this.
And it's not just Andrew Tate raising concerns. Joe Rogan has also weighed in. On his podcast, Rogan didn't mince words. He pointed out how Mayweather continues to take part in exhibition bouts, not legitimate contests, but more like flashy sparring sessions against non-fighters or retired athletes. According to Rogan, the motivation seems clear: money. Not just to earn more, but possibly to sustain an extravagant lifestyle that demands constant income.
I think the problem with shining is when it defines you.
Yeah.
The problem when you just everything is flat, like Floyd Mayweather in a way.
Yeah.
It's part of his persona. It's part of why people root against him. Like Floyd is a genius, in my opinion. Not just a genius boxing. He's the greatest defensive boxer, in my opinion, of all time. But also a genius in that he figured out a way where he has this style that's not appealing to.
Mayweather's spending habits are no secret. $1 million watches, a high-octane lifestyle, and constant displays of wealth. According to Rogan, living that way means the cash has to keep flowing. He noted that Floyd is taking on exhibition matches against opponents who pose no real threat, fights that don't impact his professional record but still bring in big paydays. Rogan suggested that Mayweather might be caught in a cycle that's tough to escape. After presenting himself as the ultimate success story for so long, stepping away quietly isn't an option. The image, the cars, the mansions, the private jets, has to be maintained, even if the reality behind it all is starting to show cracks.
Points, right? Because it's an exhibition. So that's what's interesting is Floyd's making more money than anybody, and he's boxing people who have no chance of beating him, and he's doing it as an exhibition. It doesn't even hurt his record.
Because of the drug. Of boxing.
Also
like
money.
Just like but I don't even think he don't need any money.
He spends so much money.
Yeah, but he don't need any. Floyd,
are you sure?
Yeah, Floyd good.
I bet if he's playing for the future.
Things really escalated when Mayweather appeared on The Tonight Show and casually claimed he owned over 100 buildings, with 99% of them located in New York City. This was his response to reports that he had supposedly invested $42 million into 60 properties to provide affordable housing. Such a move would typically make headlines anywhere. But here's the issue. There's no verifiable documentation, no official contracts, nothing to substantiate Floyd's ownership claims. In fact, some believe he may only hold a small stake in these properties. Investigations into these claims only made matters worse. The buildings, if they even existed under his name, weren't legally tied to him in any meaningful way. The big question remains: are they actually his? Or was this just another claim without the backing to prove it? And in this case, it's not just a $42 million question. It's one that raises even more doubt.
Best investments that I did was New York real estate. So it started off with 7 figures, and I was getting a certain amount of money every month. When I first gave them $5 million, I was getting $50,000 a month. So I said, yo, the money kept coming on the 18th every month. 50,000 would come in. I still was competing, I still was fighting, I still was active, and I still was making.
This is where Andrew Tate's respect for Mayweather begins to crumble. In Tate's view, Floyd didn't just want to fight. He wanted to capitalize on his name and influence, potentially using Tate's credibility to shore up his questionable investment claims. Tate chose to walk away, and now he's thankful he did. But Tate and Rogan are just a part of a growing chorus of critics. Even the legendary Roberto Duran, known as Hands of Stone, has stepped up to challenge Mayweather. Duran didn't hold back, directly questioning Floyd's legacy. "I laugh when Mayweather says he would dominate any era," Duran remarked. "If he had fought in the same era as Hagler, Hearns, Leonard, and me, I don't think he'd be as big a name." Coming from Duran, a 4-division world champion who fought for over 33 years, that's a sharp critique. He knows what true greatness looks like, and in his view, Mayweather's career doesn't measure up to the golden era of boxing.
Arnold Schwarzenegger, limited edition AP, all factory, 1.8 million right here. The $20 bills section. We like to call this the Andrew Jackson section, but I like to call it wallpaper. 200,000 in 20s. I heard in the song you can get the biggest Chanel bag in the store if you want it. Well, it's the biggest Chanel bag in the world. I got this bag from Karl Lagerfeld. R.I.P. May he rest in peace.
For Duran, it's not just about staying undefeated. It's about the caliber of opponents you face and the way you fight them. It's about your mindset, your humility, and how you carry yourself both inside and outside the ring. With Mayweather constantly flaunting his wealth, attempting to rewrite his own legacy, and claiming he would dominate every era, Duran has reached his breaking point. But it doesn't stop there. Teddy Atlas, a veteran boxing trainer and one of the sport's most respected analysts, backed Duran's critique with some sharp commentary of his own on the Fight podcast. Atlas didn't just suggest that Duran would have beaten Floyd, he laid out exactly how it would happen. According to Atlas, Duran's bodywork, relentless aggression, and boxing intelligence would overpower Mayweather. He'd push Floyd back, using a jab to the chest to disrupt his rhythm. Duran would dominate the ring, Atlas said, while Mayweather wouldn't be fighting, he'd simply be trying to survive.
Okay, well, we're going to know. In the least amount of fights, I didn't have to have 70 fights, or 150 fights, 300 fights. Did I not beat the most world champions?
Yes, you did.
Okay. And in the least amount of fights?
Yes, you did.
Who got the highest gate?
Floyd Mayweather.
Who made the most money?
You did.
Who was the most accurate fighter of all time?
You were.
So it's basically saying that...
The greatest of all time.
Okay.
All right.
Teddy Atlas has also questioned Floyd's real estate claims. He pointed out, if Mayweather truly had a gold mine of real estate, why is he still fighting YouTubers and former MMA fighters? Why is he flying to random countries for exhibition matches if money isn't a concern? The obvious conclusion, Atlas suggests, is that something doesn't quite add up, and more people are starting to notice. What we're witnessing now is a shift. For years, Mayweather controlled his own narrative, crafting an image of perfection, rich, undefeated, and in control. But now, his critics are growing louder. And it's not just internet trolls or haters, it's boxing legends, sports analysts, and fans who have watched the sport evolve. They're tired of being misled.
I'm able to milk the game. I'm smart, kept all my faculties, made a lot of smart investments. So, when great people like Warren Buffett, Bill Gates, the Waltons, the people that own Walmart, Walgreens, when they're getting money in their 50s, their 60s, their 70s, 80s, and even 90s, it's okay. A young kid like myself, from the inner city, from the ghetto, I work my way.
And this leads to a quasi uncomfortable reality. Floyd Mayweather might not be who he's always told us he was. He might not be the smartest person in the room, nor the best investor in sports. He might not even be the greatest boxer of all time. Here's the truth. When you're truly great, when you're the GOAT, you don't need to convince anyone. The record speaks for itself, and the legacy stands on its own. But with Floyd, there's always a pitch, always a flex, always something he needs us to buy into. The exhibitions, the watches, the mansions, the 100 buildings, it's all part of maintaining the illusion. But now, those cracks are starting to show.
There's a flex happening with Floyd Mayweather that we were all cheering and congratulating him from, but we might need to put a pin in that as some evidence comes forward that things may not be.
For years, Floyd Mayweather could walk into any room and the crowd would erupt in applause. He was the undefeated, untouchable, flamboyant genius of the boxing ring. But Floyd's story doesn't end with his flawless 50-0 record. It was just the beginning of a legacy filled with contradictions, theatrics, manipulation, and dominance. He blurred the lines between authenticity and performance so effectively that the world couldn't decide whether to admire him or criticize him. What Triple H witnessed backstage before the Marquez fight wasn't just confidence. It was a lesson in psychological warfare. That calm, collected demeanor wasn't arrogance. It was part of the plan. Mayweather had already won the mental battle before he even stepped into the ring. And that's what made him so dangerous.
The fight game is crazy. Everybody doing it for the wrong reason. A lot of fighters are looking at money Mayweather, where I was older and I felt like I put in so much hard work as a youngster, from 19 all the way to 29 for 10 straight years. So right now.
For many, there's no clear blueprint to beat Floyd Mayweather, because Floyd is the blueprint. From Victor Ortiz to Canelo Alvarez, Floyd's brilliance went beyond his shoulder roll or footwork. It was in how he cultivated belief. He told stories. He convinced the world, time and time again, that each new opponent might be the one to topple him. He let the public buy into the idea of his defeat, only to shatter those hopes with each victory. You'd think after his 30th win, fans would stop doubting him. By 40, they should have accepted that he was on a level above the rest. By 45, they should have conceded. But Floyd kept them believing. He would subtly hint at vulnerability through HBO specials and pre-fight interviews, talking about strained relationships, aging joints, and the weight of external pressure. And every time, the fans bit.
Bring happiness.
Oh, absolutely not.
What's the biggest mistake that you've made in your life that you can share, with people?
Same mistake that all four of us made.
Then came Victor Ortiz, young, hungry, and powerful. Floyd built him up, showing up late to press conferences, disrespecting Ortiz during promotional events, and playing the role of the aging villain, seemingly out of touch with his prime. And then the bell rang. We all know what happened next. Floyd waited for Ortiz to make a mistake, and when it came, he seized it. Whether you call it a sucker punch or not, the message was clear. Don't ever think I've slipped. A similar psychological game unfolded with Canelo Alvarez in 2013. Alvarez was undefeated, bigger, stronger, and a fan favorite. Mayweather made it look like this was the moment the torch would be passed. But that torch never moved. Canelo was schooled for 12 rounds and couldn't land a punch. It wasn't just a physical mismatch, it was spiritual. That night, Canelo's aura was shattered, and it took him years to rebuild it. Mayweather understood the image better than anyone. Yes, he played the villain, but he was also the mirror. He reflected what you feared in yourself, that your best wasn't enough, that effort could be outsmarted by intelligence, that discipline could outshine raw talent, and he marketed that villainy brilliantly. It wasn't about being liked, it was about being watched. People didn't pay to see him win, they paid to see him lose. The tragedy was that he never gave them that satisfaction. But even villains have their layers.
And sure enough, Floyd was built to be the villain. Floyd was built with his opponents that we put in front of him, from Miguel Cotto to everybody. He was the villain. And in a movie, you need the hero and the villain. And Floyd was the perfect villain. Mm-hmm. People love to hate him. And guess what?
Behind the brash persona, Floyd Mayweather was a far more complex individual, fighting a different battle outside the ring, a battle of perception. Floyd wasn't just a man who avoided punches. He had dodged the traps of poverty, the limitations of being black in America, and the violence of the streets. His wealth wasn't just for showing off, it was his armor, proof that he had overcome those challenges. So when Triple H saw him, calm and collected before stepping into the ring, what he truly saw was a man who had already fought countless battles in his life, mental, emotional, and cultural. But now, post-retirement, Floyd's life is starting to reveal the cracks. The undefeated champion is still fighting, but this time, the opponent has a reputation of its own.
So the money's really gone? Yeah, that's what you think. It's get the money, spend the money. All that money. Yeah, it's been 2 years. So is it just his overhead is so high on a day-to-day, month-to-month? Like I don't even want to talk about it. Like within lifestyle, that money's gone, trust me. Now it's like, you call him, he'll be at your local hosting in a nightclub, because you need that action right now.
Amir Khan, once humbled in the very ring that made Mayweather. A global icon now takes shots from the sidelines. But this time, it's not about punches. It's about politics and morality. Khan has labeled Mayweather a puppet for Israel, a money-driven showman who chooses sides simply for a paycheck. Whether or not you agree with Khan's stance, one thing is clear. The public perception of Floyd Mayweather has become just as divisive as his boxing career. What's concerning, however, is that Khan's accusations aren't being pulled out of nowhere.
Been waiting on the bench for ages, man. Yeah, I'm gonna fight you. Who should I pick? Who should I fight now? You know, he did a vote thing with me and Maidana. Obviously, I got the most votes to fight him, but still went and fought Maidana. So, and also now with what's going on now as well, you know, like, you know, the way he is around people. I mean, he only does anything for money. He's the money guy where he just
money man.
Like, I know people that I know people who know him in the UK who have done events with him, and he'll count every penny, and he won't even give no like he
Floyd Mayweather's recent public image has shifted to his outspoken support for Israel, not just the reasons behind it. When the Mayweather-Israel initiative was launched, it sparked not only praise, but also significant backlash. He wasn't simply donating, he was doing so in the loudest way possible. Grandiose photo ops with soldiers, meetings with political leaders, and tweets flaunting his position amid a polarized public opinion. This spectacle only added fuel to the fire. Then came the London incident, a mob assault, an unfortunate result of being too vocal in an increasingly divided world. In a world desperate for neutrality, Floyd picked a side and made sure everyone knew. But here's the Floyd twist. Perhaps that was exactly the point.
Money made all day. You know, right here, a light million. Over there, counting up another million over there. Walk with me, ladies and gentlemen. Let me take you into my life. So Andrew Jackson, of course, is on the 20.
Floyd doesn't do anything unless it benefits Floyd. His entire brand thrives on controversy. Every insult, every backlash, every protest, he turns it all into narrative gold. People talk, clicks rise, views skyrocket, and exhibitions get sold. He's still in the business of staying in the spotlight, but while Floyd's ability to capture attention remains unmatched, the questions surrounding his financial empire are beginning to gain traction. Once celebrated as the wealthiest fighter on the planet, earning more in one night than entire nations, there's now a growing sense of skepticism.
Today, to report to you that I'm incredibly disappointed in one of my all-time favorite fighters, my brother, Floyd Money Mayweather. Ladies and gentlemen, chaos broke out. And I'm not talking about legit, bona fide boxing, pure boxing chaos. I'm talking about the kind of stuff that's
Eddie Hearn, a man who's witnessed the wealth of boxing firsthand, isn't buying it. I don't think he's got the money, he says, Hearn casually remarked, as if it were common knowledge. That single line carried significant weight, sparking further speculation.
Guys carry on and they do the exhibitions and all that kind of stuff. It just sort of diminishes the legacy a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit.
And that's what I feel like's happened with Mayweather.
Why do you think he does those things, though? Do you think
for money?
I
don't think he's got the money he says. That's what I think.
I think he still needs the money.
I don't
after
think
all
he
these
needs
years.
the money. But you know when you got that lifestyle, right? So when you spend him.
Floyd was once the $1 billion man. He told us himself. Jets, Rolexes, Bugattis, a strip club named after him, gold mines in Dubai, cash stacks taller than toddlers. He made sure the world saw every penny. But wealth that's displayed so excessively often starts to feel more like a performance than a genuine portfolio. If you truly had it all, why keep proving it? Then came Gervonta Davis, Mayweather's former star pupil, landing a punch of his own with claims that Floyd had been detained in Dubai over unpaid debts. Whether true or not, the fact that it sounded believable spoke volumes. The invincible image is starting to crack, and the whispers are only growing louder.
Owes a bunch of gambling debts. Floyd, okay? And he tried to plant fake news out here saying that he was in downtown LA giving out money, and then he was at the...
Why, after earning $300 million in a single fight, is a man like Floyd still participating in exhibition bouts in places like Thailand, Japan, the UK, and random hotels in Dubai? He claims it's for the love of the game. Maybe that's part of it, But perhaps, just maybe, it's more about maintaining not just his lifestyle, but his image. As long as he stays active, no matter if it's against YouTubers or influencers, he remains relevant, visible, and valuable. But value fades, especially when it's not supported by humility or growth. Floyd hasn't changed, and that's starting to show. The boxing world has moved on. Canelo is now a multi-division king, Crawford is making history, and new stars are emerging. Shakur Stevenson, Devin Haney, and even Gervonta Davis himself. None of them is trying to be Floyd, and that speaks volumes.
Ass business model that you're gonna charge the fans for some bullshit fights and that you the face of boxing because you just keep shoving it down their throat, man. The Mayweather era, that's all.
Floyd Mayweather was once a fighter. Now he's a living museum, a traveling relic, still captivating, but no longer the central figure in the sport. And when the spotlight starts to fade, ego takes over. That could be Floyd's ultimate adversary. Not a southpaw, not Father Time, but his own reflection. Because the myth of Floyd Mayweather, the genius strategist, the villain, the perfectionist, can only survive as long as the world continues to believe. The moment they stop watching, stop caring, or stop being outraged, his empire will crumble. So, what do you think about all of this? Share your thoughts below and don't forget to subscribe for more updates.